Welcome everyone. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, good night, good morning to everyone. We are so pleased to have so many of you from all over the world in different time zones. I am Shakira Mohammed from Trinidad and Tobago, a teacher for the past 15 years, and we wish to welcome you to our program today. We want to note the passing of Justice Amrika Tiwari Reddy, who was also a senator and a legal advisor of the Hindu Women's Organization. So we wish to send condolences to her family, her friends, and her loved ones. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 202nd edition of our ICC Thought Leaders Forum. And we wish to sincerely thank all of you who have contributed in whatever way to the success of this ongoing Pan-Indo-Caribbean and Pan-Indian Diaspora global project. For 201 unbroken continuous weeks, we have been here every single Sunday. And in the past 3 years, 10 months and 2 weeks, we have featured 849 presenters from all parts of the world speaking on 2001 topics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a weekly forum being hosted by the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center, a legally registered research and publishing company operating since 2010. In order to continue this weekly program and to make it bigger and better, we are kindly asking for your suggestions, as well as volunteers and donations, and you can contact Dr. Mahabir for details. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now introduce our moderator for this afternoon, who is Shalama Mohammed, the co-director of this ICC Zoom platform, who is a business teacher and researcher from Trinidad and Tobago. She obtained her master's degree in business psychology from Franklin University in the USA. Shalama, welcome.
Thank you so much, Shakir. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Namaste, and a very warm welcome to all of you. We really appreciate you for choosing to be here with us from the various time zones in which you live. Before I invite our panel of elders to speak, please allow me to share this nasheed with you. Ravin, if you could bring that up, please. A nasheed is typically a cappella, sometimes accompanied by percussion instruments. And this is as we mark the last 10 days of Ramadan. Ravin?
تولى العمر في سهو وفي لهو وفي خسر فيا ضيعات ما أنفقت في الأيام من عمري وما لي في الذي ضيعت من عمري من عذري فما أغفى لنا عن واجبات الحمد والشكر أما قد خصنا الله بشهر أيما شهري بشهر أنزل الرحمن فيه أشرف الذكر وهل يشبهه شهر وفيه ليلة القدر فكم من خابر صحى بما فيها من الأجر روينا عن ثقات أنها تطلاب في الوتر فطوبى لامرئ يطلبها في هذه العشر ففيها تنزل الأملاك بالأنوار والبر وقد قال سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر ألا فاداخرنها إنها من أنفس الذخر فكم من معتق فيها من النار ولا يدري.
Thank you so much. And that is in reference to Laylatul Qadr, that very special night during the last 10 nights in which Muslims can be found in various mosques, waking out, praying almost all night, hoping for additional blessings from Allah. So as we bring Ramadan this year to a close, I want to wish everyone greetings and early greetings for Eid al-Fitr. Ladies and gentlemen, today we feature conversations with an honored panel of elders, some of which will be interviewed live and some we've already interviewed, and we have a recording to share with you. I just want to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded live on Zoom and is also being live streamed on the YouTube channel of the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center. Welcome to all of you on YouTube. To our speakers, You have been muted at this time. Please do not admit anyone, do not unmute anyone, and do not allow anyone to share your screen. This is to avoid intrusions from trolls. So thank you very much for cooperating. So let's hear from our elders at this point. And I just want to point out that our elders are being described as thought leaders today. These women whom we are featuring are wise and have accumulated a wealth of experience and wisdom over their lifetimes. This depth of knowledge allows them to offer unique insights and perspectives on various subjects, which you will hear about. They are mentors and advisors. They are thought leaders because they often share their knowledge and expertise with others. They offer advice, support, and encouragement to us, the younger generations, as well as to their peers. Thought leaders are respected authorities in their respective fields, commanding influence and credibility among peers and members of their communities. These women elders have earned respect through their actions, integrity, and contributions. So, ladies and gentlemen, with the assistance of our IT expert, Daryl Branson, we were able to do an outdoor shoot last Monday and are pleased to be able to present a group recording as well as 2 individual interviews today. We hope to do more of this out of studio recording in order to facilitate our elders who do not have access to or the capability with the technology. So let's welcome the group who comprised, first of all, Sugdeya Adil. You will see her on the left when we start the recording, when we start to show you the recording. She's 86 years old. She's a mother of 6 children, 3 of whom are still alive. She's a housewife, but her story tells so much more. Aji worked in the cane fields, the forests, and the rice lands in Trinidad. In the middle, you will see Ina Maisi Saroj. She's 83 years old. She has been a traditional midwife for the past 59 years, and she is so well known from Pinal in the south to Dago Martin in the north of Trinidad. She lives in Freeport, which is in central Trinidad. On the right is Dulcie Corey, better known as Tanti Lali, who is here with us. She's live now. She's 84 years old. She's a wonderful cook. She uses local plants to make teas and medicine. As a grandmother, she has been caring for others, and she lives in Carolina Village, Kufa, which is also here in central Trinidad. So, Robin, can we have that recording now, please?
So, aunties, we were talking earlier about how you all would have gotten into the families that you got into. I am very curious. Just tell me, please, I love your Urmi, and we so infrequently see ladies going out now in public with their Urmi on. And I remember us having a conversation with somebody else where they talked about wearing the chiffon Urmis as well as the lace Urmis. Is there a difference? Is there a habit that you remember from your mother?
Yeah, when I married on my uncle to book me to see my dad.
When you got married?
Yeah, I married. When I was my grandmother, I told her only I'm told anyway.
And your grandmother used to always wear her?
Yeah, she used to wear hungry and I do it.
Did you ever ask them why they used to wear the urni, or why they get in book for not wearing the urni?
I said, I respect.
Respect?
Our woman not supposed to wear it.
But auntie, right now you have it.
Yeah, but I can't hold it in my basket to be on.
Put on.
Yeah.
So who would be here? Who would have to be here in order for you to cover your head?
If the free trade funded, your father-in-law, your balka, you know, the older people,
Must wear it. You all agree?
I used to wear only
You used to?
no. Okay, now we didn't know anything. I never been around everything. First time, mostly when I didn't, I'm going to sit around. I didn't say that I don't respect the friend, the peaceful friend, the Christian friend, the Hindu friend, your cover your head and you respect.
Is it something that you ask your daughters to do?
When you're talking to the children, now is modern days. Long time days. As a student, and this Christian whenever I begin to make certain family, my own nephew, I put my own me and I put on when they call up for you immediate from anybody. I don't, I work my child kids. I say, okay, son, go and meet your mom. Mommy and we full story.
So let's talk about your children. How many children do you have, Auntie?
I had 6, but 3 before we back, and I have 3 alive.
And God took them back in adulthood or when they were teenagers?
One was 3 years, one was 2 years, and I had children with the last one.
And baby stay. I see. So you have 3 children now?
Yes.
Still. And how many grandchildren?
I have 9 grands and 3 grandsons.
And can you tell me where those children were delivered? Were they delivered at home or in hospital or what?
The first one and the last one I had it in the hospital, and the other 4 I had it home.
So at home, who delivered the baby?
The
Grandmother?
granny.
Granny?
Yeah.
Okay. So Granny, was that something she did just for you?
Yeah. She used to do for anybody who having baby and it. When you eat a baby cross, she used to bring it back in home. Yeah.
Did she teach you how to do that? No?
No.
Okay, how about you? Did you have your children at home or in the hospital?
No, in the hospital. I have 2 children and the 2 C-section. Because when I had my first daughter, I was 36 years old. And when I had my second daughter, I was 40 years old. So they had to do C-section.
Right. Now, I understand that you are a midwife. So you might have gone home, for example, in her case, you might have gone home to deliver the baby.
They told me you can know about it.
So who would have taught you how to do that kind of work?
I learned from my mom.
Your mother used to do it too?
Yeah, she was very person. And she said, bathe hot water, bring it for me, and leave the basement in the room. I see how she cut the child with his friends. I see how she first together and got all the rules, whatever.
So is she the only person that you learned from?
Yeah, well, no, mom, I did say.
You didn't go anywhere else to learn?
No, at all. That we don't take nothing but that stand for them. They tell you what and the future.
So can you walk me through that process, please? When someone becomes pregnant, do you find out at that point in time? Can you tell whether they are pregnant or do you meet a woman to deliver only?
2 months and I started to begin. Some of them from 2 months to baby low and they say, Senator Bank, I used to do it. I know the graduate 7 months to do it.
So how do you know if it's too low?
Really?
Or you could feel it?
Yes.
All right. And when you are ready to deliver, how would you know?
I don't know. When they come by me, I did go. I say, you want to have that baby tonight or they don't. I said, no. And they will come to, I had to get them delivered because I started thing I put down these apartments in the area and she came up and when they go next to the next day they had a baby and they when they were ready they were falling and there.
So, can you share when you started to deliver babies? Do you remember how old you were?
Only one baby I delivered, one was female. And I told her, I said, when she came from clinic, I said, Auntie, you see this baby, you're going to have this baby tonight. Because when I examined this, I see the baby, she go down, and he get down the you know, she had it 2 o'clock in the morning. I was going to come 2:10. I said, no, I'm not good. From the 2:10 crying. Say, why? I said, because I told her she's going to have this baby tonight. Do not come for me. Go in the hospital. If they deliver the baby, the next minute, I'll do follow. But I'm not taking chance to deliver. And what she had to do, and then started crying. I'm born. totally she mother. And she said, you must know because the many before and they don't be new. We got it and I put it on diet and the guy said, see what my mom is. He's 34 years.
Okay, so you're still in touch with him.
Yeah, mother just can't do it without being careful.
Is that right?
Come right up to my head. Has an insulin, has an
Okay.
all kind man. But that is the only one. And I stopped. I said, all you have only baby in the hospital, then come. But now get more risky, so I don't take no chance. If I come out in next minute and I'll come home, I do full work with mother.
What is full work?
We're to massaging mother and child. Okay, section now. I can't rub that belly, but they want it back. They just feel nice when I massage it back.
Right.
Before the injection, they just give them the, if they don't keep massaging that and move out that injection medicine, you will have a pain till you live that like when they do C-section.
Is that right?
Yes, you will have a bad back pain when they do C-section.
I don't know for that, but now I just suffer with a back pain. But I am.
Yeah, till you live with a back pain. When you do C-section. It's nice when you can have your baby on your own.
Right. So, Auntie, do you suffer from any back pains or anything?
Well, my first baby, I didn't know when I had it.
What happened?
They said it was just Easter having baby.
Huh?
I was real sick. So they put me to Easter having
Okay. And when did you have the midwives come home to you to have?
Like when they released me from the hospital 3 days after.
They released you from the hospital, then you had your baby.
No, when I had the baby, they released me.
Okay, so you could compare the midwife coming home experience to the hospital experience.
Yeah.
Which one do you prefer?
I rather home.
Any particular reason why?
But I knew what I want because they have everybody around.
Yes, but don't mind, don't mind.
Yeah.
But don't mind my mom was doing that already. For the two girls, I went to Cuba hospital. Dr. Gopal was the doctor was. But the boy getting so hard till I had to go home. And they called the Capuchino nurse first. She come over.
Okay, so your mom was not around at the time?
Yeah, she did know, but she didn't tell her. She didn't tell her what she doing, let the nurse come there. She did that. She did that his son home.
Okay, so in all of this, your husbands were part of the process?
No.
No? Where was your husband when you were having the baby at home? Do you know?
He wasn't home.
What?
My mother-in-law was with me. Yeah.
So she was
And
living
the
at home. So when your husband did finally come now and he saw this baby, what
Well,
was
they
his
going by
reaction?
the pundit first to see if the father could see the baby. If the father can't see the baby, then he'll give you 21 days.
Really?
Yeah. And after 21 days, he had to see the baby with a looking glass, not face to face.
Oh, why is that?
They say, well, that happened to my first one and we didn't know. And he come and see the baby and the baby lived 3 years and died.
Oh, see.
And they had that too. Yeah.
You did not have that issue. What was your situation?
Well, he see them, he see the three of them.
So as soon as the babies were born, he came and he saw them.
And no one in the hospital when the seven go get to see the baby. The two girls saw the two baby, but the boy was home. And when he born, he was cutting rice for some people. So the neighbor called him and tell him, walk up to the rice field wasn't far. Say, boy, you get a milk for you. Say, what, I get this now? So he found out that.
So that is what a son meant? A son meant help to cut rice or to mind the animals or cut cane. And what about the daughters?
It's in the kitchen.
Ah,
Only go for
All that home.
what's that cook? So is it, so those were the traditional thoughts when you had a son or a daughter, but did that really happen?
No, you have to send them to get their education.
Yeah, they went when they reached that age.
Yeah, you have to send them to school. And so I'm going to school. I send my daughter in Trinidad and San Fernando.
Okay. How about
When they had 3 years, I sent them to private school, kindergarten, and then 5 years they're going to primary.
So it will be private.
Right. So we talked about having medical aid at home through the midwife, and we talked about the hospital looking after you when you had to deliver your baby. Let's talk about what would happen if the baby got sick at home.
The fourth one when I had it, the fifth one. When he born and my mother-in-law went to toilet in the evening, she started bored. She said, oh God, in Hindi, she talking. She said the baby had no bottom and the baby turning blue. So we had to take up the baby and carry it in the hospital. And when they carried it in the hospital, they put him in the incubator. And the next day, they do a little operation. And they send him home. He remained there and start back with the same problem again. He can't go, he belly getting hard. After my private doctor, they do it again. He had an invalid for 3 years. And he passed. He couldn't wait. Because the more he going, now the passage getting too small for he to go. Very unfortunate. Yeah. But when he was a smart little child, he had 3 years and he said the whole alphabet and everything. He was so smart. Well, present was a boy.
It's unfortunate. You had any boys after?
Yeah, I had a girl that I did the cesarean and that. I didn't see that.
Oh, what happened?
Well, I didn't get over the cariform and things, so I didn't get, the father get to see, but I didn't get to see. The doctor said that the baby wasn't responding.
So the baby didn't survive.
So I didn't see.
How did that affect you?
Well, tell you the truth, it affected me plenty.
What did you?
Well, when I come home, I had to do easy. They had to do my housework country because the children, the other three, four of them small.
So you just went right back into your routine?
Yeah, get up easy and do my house. Because the children, them was there. And the husband working, he was a carpenter.
So he was a carpenter, and before we started, I remember you telling me that you were familiar with one of these tools here.
Jack plane.
The jack plane. So, the jack plane is something that you used as well?
Yes. I plane all my joys, all my skill in my house. Even my husband buy tea cloth. And I said, Jack playing the tea cloth, and when he come from work in the evening, he used to groove and tongue it with the groove and tongue, and we nail him with 3 that.
So you build your house?
Yes, I do. Man, my husband build your house.
Very nice. Is that something you all did as well? Yeah? Tell me how you helped.
Well, when I got married, my husband was from Felicity, Sabonas, and we sold and combined my mother with my mother gave me half houses, their house, and I did have that since 1980. And my husband,
1980?
yeah,
Oh, this was your second marriage?
yes,
Uh-huh.
and we built a flat house. I still had to help them man in brick, and when he mix them up, I had to carry it and help them no profile and and I just had baby in 10th of July, and this is August. And I had to help them there, helping everything, and then down like this also, we had to sweep out all this cylinders and all that.
So you were equal partners. What about working outside? I mean, in all of your cases, is it that your husbands were the ones bringing in the income? Did you all do anything to bring in income as well?
And who can be porridge plantain rice on cane. Who can be cane lamb loading cat cotton cane loading. I used to put my child in a box cat in the road and a cotton cane made.
And this was for private owners?
My own cane.
Your own cane lamb?
We planted my own rice and wheat. In forestry, we pay 25 cents for an acre land. We cut the land, they pass on the plant the tea, and we plant the rice and the peas and things.
Really?
Yeah. We used to have to walk a mile and a half wanting to in the forest.
In the land?
Yeah, to reach in the piece of land.
So 25 cents was what? Rental of the space?
No, they're paying 25 cents to get the acre land. We'll clean it and then we'll pass and plant the seed.
I see. Okay. And how about in your case? Did you do anything to
Yes, we had garden right around the house, so we used to plant cassava, corn, and beans.
Uh-huh.
And then there was kitchen garden thing.
Kitchen garden and so on.
So we are going market, we have everything in the garden, pepper, pimento, olive things. And as we sell for, and then later on them around. And chowrai bhaji, and the small karai, people spend a rush for it.
Small karai. What you call that? Ban karai leaf. What's that good for?
It doesn't Yeah.
Is it something that you cook?
Yes.
You cook it with goma bhaji. And you mix the goma and ban karai.
Where do you get guma bhaji now?
When I come, I have my bhaji home.
You have?
Yes.
I have one at home.
I will see
Really?
I told you see and get a bowl.
Okay, I don't even know what it is.
You mix guma bhaji, chawrai bhaji, and koi bhaji. And you pumpkin leaf and you mix that bhaji, you can also eat at the heat.
Is that right?
Mixed bhaji or mixed leaf.
Is it healthy?
Yes.
Yeah, what is it good for?
Yeah, you eat that food.
For food.
Like that.
Even though you eat and your stomach feel like
That and you mix other roti.
Uh-huh. So is it, do you all still eat sada roti every evening? What's, you all have been around for a long time, so what is breakfast and what is dinner?
Well,
I guess the breakfast is lunchtime, but they will say breakfast is in the morning.
Okay.
yeah, you know, some bread in the morning as I'm a diabetic now. So I can eat tomato roti.
You eat no tomato.
So I really whole wheat.
You eat whole wheat.
Bread.
So what do you eat in the evening?
milk Dixie quick.
But bread is more flour than roti.
Yeah, but you're born in it.
Yeah.
But you could burn a roti too.
And if you have, you want to have it.
We have toasted bread until it get brown.
You toast that bread until you get wrong. So when that goes on, the doctor say it will sleep. But when you eat it white, it's slimy.
Well,
and
right,
slow
but if
and
you put plenty,
and
if you put plenty whole wheat in it, then you add the roughage.
Yeah, when I was a diabetic, we got
bread.
I mix whole wheat flour, cream of wheat, the grind with the dough, and wheat germs, and then mix all together and put it in a bottle, and I take a little bit of the white flour and more that and make it.
But my son, after the melon, now, he just got a coconut, peanut melon, and put it in the smoothie and blend up for me. And say, Mommy, drink this, and you know I do eat nothing hard and lumpy.
Right. So do you all drink any special teas?
I drink my Milo, nothing else, okay? Just no coffee, no Lipton.
So you're listening to the doctor, but what would your mother have told?
You know, when we mother days, we do lucky we get Langotis. So, yeah, because when they offer that, do they?
Or
Most of the time, ginger
grass,
tea, ginger grass, Langot.
cocoa,
Yeah,
fresh cocoa,
yeah.
chocolate tea.
chocolate.
Chocolate
Yes,
and
the
thing when they used to buy
Patch it
the
and
coupon.
pound it in the
Yes,
in
we
the
had the
water.
Jengu and mozzarella.
And
I
when
used to
it
like
gets
them
soft,
pocket and boil it.
Make it into balls.
Yeah, you're gonna try. You have to grate it and boil
Yeah,
it in the
with
water.
the
And sweeten it with condensed milk.
spice.
So if you don't have condensed milk, what happens?
Make it nice.
It don't drink so nice.
But most of the time,
Oh, no.
my dad and I will use in my own house.
Uh-huh. So up until now, we all have cows?
No, not in my own. Oh, they have
You
like.
can buy fat milk.
You have to buy.
Can't even to walk on grass, no?
And nobody cutting the grass for the cow. Okay, well, we were talking earlier about some teas that you all used to make, and I remember I heard one of you mention something about 9 leaf.
Yes.
What
When you have cough, when you have a bad cough and you're using other doctor gets then you have to then go there
I
and boil the
I know in
bush. Karali bush and the
Karali bush.
Capsenta bush,
Uh-huh.
bamboo leaf, and guava leaf and black sage. You get that and boil it. Well, boil it in some water and strain it. And you put it in the fridge. And you drink so much every morning.
Mm-hmm. How much you drinking every morning?
So much I buy that.
About a quarter glass?
Yeah.
Okay. So quarter glass of that. And how many days do you have to drink that to get relief from this cough?
Until the bush be finished.
Until the bush tea finish.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And
you cough
feel
will go?
good, yes. All my neighbors and them used to have the cough, they used to come with the children and I had to gather up the bush and put it in a bag and do it. And when they boil it and drink it, they say the children feel good. They come and say, Auntie, you know the bush medicine work good.
Mm-hmm. Who taught you this?
My mother,
Your mother. Is that something she used to do for you all?
yes. But I never used to drink it when I was small. I used to, when I smell it, I used to feel the vomit.
Yes, that's
But now I get big
Uh-huh.
and now the better know I could drink it.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
But so the is it 7 bushes you said?
7, 9.
7 or 9?
And ginger and shandy. You put in fever grass.
All of these are leaves. These are not the roots.
You could put the fever grass root. You have to wash it and wipe on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see and aura.
Mm-hmm.
You pound it and you boil all in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, Auntie, you would have used some of these in your midwife work as well? Some of these
Yes,
leaves?
I was at the Saturday, which was it all.
The same bushes?
Yeah, but when we small, I know my father medicine when he was sick of happy down for only used to say Zaba peak. He used to go in the bush and get Zaba peak and bring that and fill the gas and so make people a whole pot. When it cool, pull it in the bottle, put it in the fridge. Anybody sick bring that and we do it. Young made of that, we all get.
Right.
That Zaba peak was the best thing in Mexico for my time.
Mm-hmm.
For me and for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Who know about that in the days, they know Zaba peak is a very good bush to boil.
Very good bush.
Yeah.
So, Auntie, where would you get Zaba peat now?
No, you can't get it.
So,
Yes,
Yeah, you know it, you're
Where?
okay. The bush, you have to go back to it. Now we're telling you, well,
We find one no young.
Zaba peak was long time, main medicine for everybody. As they get fever and they cough in. Go in the bush, get Zaba peak and boil, you will feel good.
Is that something you use in your midwife work?
No, well, if we get it, but we don't get it, but I like fever grass, guava, for leaf, your mouth, let's say your mouth gets the leaf with milk.
Pawpaw leaf.
Yeah. I have 5, 7 or 9, all
and
numbers.
calabash bush.
Calabash.
5, 7.
That's the leaf from the
Yeah,
calabash.
for you, not so buhari, but you don't can't get it, mama, you can't get it for me. So go try what I could just shine in bush and see good. Up till now, if you have a baby born and they have rash, get that, mash it up in the water, wash it clean, leave your child with that. The rash is going, a simple thing.
Simple. Is that something you used to use a lot with your babies?
Yeah, they had a baby men. And all, when you have a baby, The bloody baby mint and
I don't know why that for them people are glad when I get the shiny bush and the people across.
So baby mint is something that you can make tea with as well.
And the young lime,
Yeah, you must have to live lime, bacano, most become a paradise of boiled dry bacano inside.
So what else comes from a bacano tree? What's the bacano tree for?
I don't know, but
bacano and mango flowers.
Leaf.
Okay.
but
They
you
are
know, it's tree
medicinal.
growing all
Yeah, all
around.
about.
But you have to use a dry one, when
Dry.
you make one,
You have to leave it
roll up
dry.
like this,
To
and you
dry.
take it and wash it and boil
We
it.
know local thing from inside.
But do you still use it?
Yeah, when I
Yes,
build
it
it
is,
to and
yeah.
get all that, we should carry it back in the toilet. Sometimes when we drive and going, if we go in Pina side, we go. I walk up to Vigo Martin. Muslim woman, she used to come and carry me and bring me to get 4 grams. 3 years and a quarter. It's the mom I get to get local, usually like when I come to the jabber. And from 1 to get 2, 4. Nice.
So you all keep relationships with Hindus, Muslims, Christians where you live?
I go north.
Huh?
I go yeah. Anyway, until it's one body.
So now it's Ramadan. Do you all go to iftar or do you all go to
We really do
Eid?
in something. They have everything private.
But anybody private and they call and it.
Yeah, I know Indian Muslim
Yeah.
people around by me. They live a little way.
No Indian Muslims?
Yes.
Are there black Muslims where you live?
Yeah.
Look, I understand people who I work for Juman Hill. When they go in, they can continue as a
Oh, Yeah.
we are going to share now. And Calibi Road. I walk for the Muslims. 3 grandson, they like white man. He just come and make bag and come a picture and he say, we are teachers. One for you. You got one and one for you.
Right. So has there
They
been
don't bring us get bag and thing.
and
You don't forget that all year, now we doing that. He said, we come a grandchildren, too nice. Your hand is red. And when I walk on the little child, he give me a little phone call. And when I see the back, I say, no, we don't mind. My son, I said, you carry that on mine. When I'm bringing it to my son, make a little phone. And if you see my call, what you get? I get the next call, I call somewhere, and that was the NED.
okay, so we're going to continue talking about your parents now. Tell me something that you all have learned from your parents.
All I know from my grandmother and my uncle, as you jump out of bed, you have to run in the cattle pen. And as you're done with cattle hunting, you're going to cut grass, or you're going in the cane land, or you're going in the rice land.
So what about brushing teeth and having breakfast?
Well, you have to brush your teeth and then, yeah.
First thing in the morning, at what hours that you're waking up?
Well, my uncle wife used to get up 4 o'clock to cook, and she had 2 children,
Yeah.
one this side, and I in the hammock. When I get up on the 2 side girl, because they had pampers that time. Bed sheet they used to care and make diaper.
Is that right?
Yeah, bed sheet.
So,
And then nowadays we didn't have toothbrush, you had to go and
Get this of wine.
How did that one?
that one.
the
So
Come
wine.
up the end.
yeah, the hibiscus or the kozema hoya. You had to bite it, chew it up.
And brush it.
We used to put some salt or some flour soda powder in the hand and dip it and brush your teeth.
So that's where soda powder and toothpaste came from.
Yeah, you know, so they say.
And how often you all used to have to go to the dentist?
We never go to dentist until we have to take. We never go to dentist until we have to take. We know we call dentists.
And what about doctors?
Well, when you get sick, you have to go to the doctor.
When you all were children, the doctors used to come home to you, or was it your parents or your grandparents who used to
Parents
look
had to
after?
carry me to the doctor, to the private doctor in Cuba. Or you go in the Cuba hospital,
Cuba was the place.
Oh, yeah.
We used to have to go Francisco.
Cuba.
So Ina, your mother used to fix you up because she was a midwife. She used to
Yeah,
fix you up.
yeah, about only 12 children. We used to have 8 brothers and 4 sisters. Yeah.
So
she
when
knew from mother-in-law. Mother-in-law had 3 daughters-in-law and she chose the center one was my mom. She said, choose you. You take my pattern and see if you could able with it. And so my mom started, she was in class. Not babies. After high school, she was in the school. Mom just get to hear the comment.
you mean teenage girls who got pregnant?
My mother used to tell me what to drink.
So they never used to go to the hospital?
No, they can't go there. What if they want to go to the
So your mother used to help them in how?
Yes.
What way?
She made it in what to tell them what to get and drink.
To do what?
Get a Guinness.
To do what?
And drink and
Oh, to abort the babies. So okay.
Yeah.
And did it work?
Yes, as long as I'm not doing my house.
Punch and rum and what else?
Guinness.
Yeah, you don't need to keep this a secret if she used to do it and it
Yeah.
used to work.
Yeah, they used to come school here by sheep.
And that was often?
A few times. But when poor girl and them chip it and the smart one and them want to pull up the poor children in school.
So was this a problem with Indian girls?
Yeah.
Really? So why do
I
you...
remember all that.
How old were you at the time?
7, 8, for 9 years and things.
Oh, so that was...
Yeah, I never get to go to school. I went to only post primary. And I had to stay to help my mother with all them children. She make 2 children in a year, you know. I
Right.
January, but I December. Next one is January, but next one I December.
What a thing. So what kind of work your father used to do?
Cane, plant cane and rice and minority. Never start we do that and mine we'll make sure the children and have something. If we had to eat rice 3 times a day, but we had something to eat.
Right. Do you feel that you should have gone to school?
Yeah, I did one, but I feel sorry for my dad when he tears in the eyes and he say, babe, don't go to school now. You better you stay and help your mother with all these children. I was my father too, child.
The older two,
The
did they go to
eldest
school?
one was the sister. And as she get 15 years he married, she married on her way. You know, those days they married in 15, 16. Second was her brother. And then he had to stay.
So your brother was able to go to school?
Yeah, they went, all of them.
Everybody else went to school?
Yeah, well, I did with my mom now and I helped she out with each children. And when I had 17 years, then I married.
So can I ask you about your sister who got married at the age of 15?
Yeah, she did get sick and she, from 40 years, she had sugar and thing, and 53 years she died.
But when she was married very young, so, you know, the big contention now about getting married very young is that you are not ready for children, you're not ready for all that. What was her situation? How old was she when she had her first child?
I can't remember, but one child she had.
And that was when she was very young, sure.
Yeah, she had one child and she and my brother-in-law lived there.
So they had a good marriage?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about your weddings, all 3 of you. Who wants to tell me about their wedding ceremony?
In my wedding, the whole week before, we had the ladies that used to come in the evening and we had a big jata, I held the jata. And the grinding, the singing, and the grinding that all.
Yeah.
So what they used to sing?
They singing the wedding song and
You all could sing it?
nah.
So, okay, so they grind down to do what? Make laddu?
No, to make curry and for the wedding, to cook curry, yeah.
Yeah, because Hindu wedding they have to cook for Friday, Saturday and
Yeah, no way to
Sunday.
carry dal to grind like now.
Yeah, we had the jata, we grinding the dal and
When
the
you're
jata.
selling
And four of them had to sit down to grind that dal, you know, because the jata was a big jata.
It was 2 big stones. One stick up onto the floor, and they will dab it. And then the next one you have to turn it. One had to throw the whatever you were grinding. It have a little hole, you throw it in there. And while it's falling, they have a little broom, a little brush like, and they
grandmother just spread a sheet,
putting it in a
a white flour bag.
bag.
Sometimes was flour bag, and they spread the flour bag and then put the jata so that holding in the sheet.
Right. So it was clean.
So when you take off the jata, you know, you just raise it on your hand, get all the basin.
So the basin, you call the ground
rice.
basin? I thought basin was grind chana.
Grind out.
Grind out.
So, okay, so what would you cook on Friday night?
Same curry, rice and chana.
So 3 days you're cooking curry, rice and mango. Every day you're getting the same thing?
Yes, and Hindu wedding is that.
Hindu wedding, you have to do that from Friday.
So you all didn't get bored eating the same thing for 3 days?
No.
Yeah, Louisa have quicks and bread and we
Yeah, who want to
mix it all
eat
the
So, okay.
I used to go and cook the paratha for the people, you know that?
Ask the question.
So, in the Hindu wedding, they never, I know they used to cook the dosti.
Yeah, they never cook paratha. They say paratha is for Muslim. I will go down. They said I go down paratha. But we roti is dosti roti. They stick in together.
There's a make 5 little oya, there's a stick it in one. So when you beat that, it come like paratha.
So you used to beat up the dosti too?
Yeah.
Make it like a bus up shot?
But I went to stick up
Okay, so there was no goat?
No.
So what was... Okay. Pumpkin. What about green fig talcary and thing? Shatine?
Shatine, yeah, they cook shatine.
Alright. So when the orchestra used to come, or you all used to have family singing?
Saturday
They
night.
have orchestra. Sometimes who could offer, they had the Harichan dance, or Pahala dance, all that.
Tell me about this Harichan dance. What is that about?
Well, these are things from the Ramayana.
It's male or female dance?
All is male, but the male, one of the male is dressed like a lady.
Oh, okay. Is he called Harichan?
No. He called it Rani.
Oh, he's the Rani, okay. So,
And the main man in it is the Raja.
So, what are the names of the dances? You have Harishchan, what again?
And Pahalad.
Pahalad.
And I don't know the other name.
Whole night, that's going whole night.
Well, long time was night wedding, so while wedding going on, dance going on one side.
Yeah.
so what? So all three of you had night weddings?
Nah, I
Yeah.
You had night weddings?
no.
No, not night. But the cooking night, you must be singing and go on
Yeah.
nearly morning. I try and it from Hyderabad
To do what?
for me cooking night, for me singing.
Oh, Hanif.
Yes, Hanif Mohammed.
So he used to come and sing for your wedding?
Jum Boji. I used to sing that.
So how was the Prahalad dance different from the
I did
Harichan?
Hanif. I used to do good singing
Okay.
to my teacher.
It's a dance like a play, you know.
Oh, I see. So it's like a theater.
It's like
Yeah,
a
stage.
Yeah, like a play.
Hanif
And the
there.
Rani will come and dance, and the Raja,
I sing it
they
people
dance
like
and thing,
right.
and they carry on a play. But I really can't tell you the play because I was small.
So you as the bride, how old were you when you got
I had a
married?
big board.
You were 19. And where were you when all this dance and so on was taking place? Were you there? Were you allowed to come
They
outside
have-
and so
No,
on?
we can't come out outside because we don't put saffron and we.
Yeah,
Until
no,
Friday we put saffron, we can't come out.
They can't come
You
out.
have to hide.
You have to stay in your room.
No, you're inside.
Yeah, you
They
can't
want
come
you
out.
outside.
They're hiding, but you're inside.
So you used to sleep. Were you protected?
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, but some of my friends used to be in there and they used to sit down and talk inside.
Okay.
And all you coming out when the Dulaha come.
When you
Is
come
it?
in, you're dressing with the yellow sari and
Yeah,
come.
and then you're coming out.
Yeah, then you come in.
Mm-hmm.
But they had to wait until when the Dulaha come to get the Dulaha water to bathe the Dulahi. That was a long time.
Yeah, they did bring some.
And when the Dulaha come with the water where he bathed from, they just get some of the water where they bathe and they bring it in a
Okay.
vial. And when they bring it, then the Dulahi bathe into dress.
So hold on. So if you live in Tabaquite and he living quite in Port of Spain, this water coming for have to take 2 hours before it get you.
Yeah,
So you have to wait for that water to
Yeah.
come for you to bathe.
that was long time. But now what they just do, they just bring the water now and the Dulahi don't dress, so they just sprinkle it on the
Then it's sprinkled on
That's not them.
They sprinkle it
a
on the
few drops,
Mm-hmm.
not all the water.
Tell us about Hanif the singer. He used to come with a group for
Yes,
harmonium.
they bring it to church.
Whole night he's singing or half night?
No, they sing it till for 4 o'clock morning. They get paid, they can't leave your house. Nah, and it was a nice man.
Yusuf and I.
He tell me how his wife is sick and all, and how she died.
Okay.
When he died, I see him in the papers, and I told my daughter, I said, well, girl, we didn't hear because we knew which part he living in Paisabad. Then I said, go to pay down and pay the advance.
Mm-hmm.
I will, so we paid.
Okay. So Auntie, did you have
it's
similar?
similar.
You had a Hindu wedding
And it was
first,
nearly like you.
and then your husband. So you had a separation,
Yes,
and then you remarried, and this time you married to a Christian.
yes.
So did you have any of those kinds of
Well, when
cultural practices?
when I married in Hindu, yes, we had all of that.
I do 3 days.
Yeah, we had poker night, we had Hindu wedding.
Uh-huh. And what happened when you had your Christian wedding?
Well, was an ordinary little thing, the pastor come and we get married home.
So the pastor came home,
Yes,
and this was back by your parents' house now?
yes.
Okay. How old were you then?
I was 38.
38 at the time. And when you got married,
The first
and
time.
the second time, after the ceremony by your parents' house, and you went, did you go to your own home or did you
Yes.
go to your in-laws' home?
No, it was my own home.
Your own home at that time.
Yeah, I didn't have no in-laws and nobody.
So let's talk about your in-laws in all cases. So from your first marriage, you had in-laws.
Yes,
What was your relationship with them?
was very good. I didn't have my own mother-in-law. They was adopted my son, my husband. So was adopted mother-in-law, but she was very nice. Her mother came from India. And my mother-in-law, she was a nice lady. She treated me nice because I used to call she Moi, and she still like that because she only had one son. She didn't have no daughter. And she still like when I call she Moi.
So what happened when you and your husband went to separate? What was your relationship with her like?
Well, we were living separate from them. But I lived 5 years with them, with my in-laws. We had plenty cane land, rice land. We had shop. We had to work hard. You had to get 3 o'clock in the morning to cook food for the day. And you had to go in the rice land, you had to go in the cane land. It was plenty, so they support people to work and you have to go to. When I was home by my mother, I never go to do nothing. I was to stay home.
But not so when you got married.
No. I got married in Monroe Road and they had plenty rice land. So I have to go to clean rice. Well, when I married, I had 17 years when I married. When I married and I gone after the second Sunday, the Monday I have to go to work in the garden. I have to go to clean the rice place, clean a place to throw rice seed.
So your honeymoon was in the rice land.
No, we didn't have honeymoon in that time. No, not in my days. After you're married 3 days, you come back home by your mother and then you go back the Sunday.
In the rice land again.
But you have to wear your near and pin it up all out. And when I know we were going in the garden, because I see my mother used to tie the head, so I double my orney and I tie my head. When I come downstairs, my mother-in-law say, Bahu, that is not you. Go back upstairs and pin back your orney and put on your bracelet, put on my earring. She said you have to look like a dullahin.
Even when the rice
I even had to go in the garden here. So I had to go and pin my orney here and pin it here.
How long did you continue with that practice?
Well, while I stayed with them 5 years, and you have to wear your dress long, long, long. You can't wear no armhole. You can't wear no big neck. You have to have your neck well small, covered with sleeve.
Your father-in-law ever told you anything about your clothes?
No, my father-in-law, he was a nice man. And he never used to live by, he used to live in Tobago. He used to work in Richmond Estate.
What kind of estate was that?
Some gardening thing, cocoa and thing. But we have to, let's see. And I never know nothing about rice land, but you have to go. Well, they tell me to weed. Like I never weed by my mother anymore. And we weed a little bit and then dig up the place and then throw the seed. My husband and my sister-in-law, them they throw the seed and cover it up.
So, okay, so you had experience with rice, you had experience with rice.
And then,
How about
and cane land also.
cane?
Yes.
And rice.
Yeah.
Same thing with the same. We talk about that.
We had to cut a whole bed of cane.
We have to help them.
And you had to pick up every one that cane top because we had 10 bison. I couldn't cut cane and I had to pick up every one of the cane top and make up a big heap. So when the tractor come or the cart come, they had to pick up a whole load because they had to feed 10 bison. Yeah.
So the cane top was used to feed the bison.
Yeah.
You all ever drink bison milk?
No, I never drink bison milk.
I drink goat milk.
Goat milk? So you all used to mind goats? Yeah?
Nice, rich. I do good.
Okay. So what was your relationship like with your in-laws?
Good. I had a bosom mother. My father-in-law, they were nice.
And how long you lived with them?
I live until 29 years.
Yeah.
And then before the 50 years, I come back by my father.
Before the 30 years you came back by your father?
Complete year with my 3 children.
And where was the husband?
He mixed.
Oh.
When he met my mother-in-law, see, and she come and tell my father. If she didn't tell my father, that stick me shit and face. But when she come and tell my father, he come next day, he hire a fella back. So when I see my clock, poor Charlie will say, "Boy, where you going?" Say, "We are going right now. I want you and the preacher and sit down in this van. Take off your clothes." Go. And he did. My father waited at 4 o'clock. You know, wherever her husband go 4 o'clock, they will reach him. He did right there. My mother-in-law come back about 3 houses from my mother-in-law. The lamp light in the truth. And he said on there, the other brother come. The second brother started crying and say, "Boji, give him a chance." My father said, "You have no chance in this. If I give you a plate of food in the morning and it was spoiled already, and I put away that and I give it to you in the evening, it's more rotten. Come on." And I hear my father and I take up my teacher and we come and never leave march back clap there and my daddy by the way also. So we leave him with it.
And so you moved on from that?
Yeah,
And you
I come back
improved
by my
yourself.
father, yeah.
During your marriage and afterwards, you were always doing the midwife work?
Yeah.
So all that time?
Yeah. Well, we take you Monday. He make a child with the man. The child big. I go and work for the three grandchildren there because the girl tell him, me I could talk hard, me I talk with him. He say, she tell them, she say, I don't care about all the relationship. I know Auntie Ina is a good midwife. I want nobody but she. From one, she get two more. Two girls and a boy look last year. The second daughter passed for Susepti. The first one passed for St. Joseph's biggest high school. There shit them up. Because I ain't had to talk to them. I said the same two hand where you left before your granddaughter passed for. He been on here. So shame.
So your children now and your grandchildren, you emphasize education for them, yes?
My three children good. My three children passed for pre-college and they went.
Excellent. And your grandchildren now, which schools do they go to?
The grandchildren, they went to school and my big daughter, she gone New York and gone to high school and complete she 5 years there. I have 3 great granddaughters.
Was it important
the
for you
eldest one
all?
is 18 years there.
Very nice. Was it important for you all, for your granddaughters to go to girls' schools, or did it matter to you whether they went to a mixed school?
My 2 grandchildren went to girls' school. My big granddaughter went to Nabs. And my second granddaughter, she going Holy Faith Convent.
Right. So good.
She write the exam. My first granddaughter write exam. She do 9 subjects and she get all 1. She doing A-level.
Very nice.
And the one way home, she's 17 years. She and all do 8 subjects. She make all 1. She doing A-levels also.
Okay, and how about your girls? Did it matter to you for them to go to girls' schools?
Girls, they went to school.
Yeah, but did it matter to you, or was it just the option, any option that they had for school? You had no problem with
they
it?
like, but they passed for the pre-college. But right now, I want doing classes upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, she studied. She did 10 classes from upstairs.
Right. And how about you?
When my children are going to junior secondary, 2 grand. The girl and the boy going junior.
Daughter too.
Okay.
The boy
so wherever,
and the daughter.
as long as they were educated. When you all were growing up, did your parents sit down and talk to you all about their wishes for you? What they would have liked you to become, if anything different? Did you all have those kinds of conversations?
No. My dad will comfort for me and the teacher and I happy.
Right.
Their businesses sent us to school and we had to read and write and
my teacher only passed of pre-college, the 2 granddaughter passed.
Right.
The next 2 with the big daughter then passed, only passed 1.
Okay.
But I hardly go to school.
You never go to
I go to school. I want to read and write when my children them start to go
when
to
they
school.
have left
So
and
your
have
children-
copybook.
So I learn with them.
Okay, so your children used to teach you.
Yes. And sometimes I buy Guardian and thing and I sit down and I try to explain to the words and them.
To read.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learn to read.
Okay, very nice.
Yes.
What about the religious texts? Can you all read the religious texts?
I just read the Gita.
You do?
Yeah.
So and the Gita is written in Hindi or English transliteration?
Hindi and English. And
Can you read the Hindi?
No.
No, just the English.
Yeah. And I will say my Hanuman Chalisa every night before I go to sleep.
So you all would have learned the Hanuman Chalisa, for example, through listening to somebody else recite it.
No, I had a book.
Okay,
The
so
Hanuman Chalisa and the Bhajan. So I just learned it from them.
My sons and I know.
Any of your parents or your grandparents, did you learn any of the Bhojpuri language and so on from them?
I don't know.
Or Hindi?
I can understand,
when
but I can't
small, but
speak
I know
Hindi.
them.
You can't speak the Hindi.
I know my
Only a few words I
mother,
can speak.
father, mother. I know them little bit.
Okay.
I could understand everything what they say, but I can't really speak it.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother is talking. Yeah.
Fluently. Nothing else.
No, she used to talk English too.
Okay.
But most of the time is English she talking, but when she talking the Hindi, we understand what she's saying.
So you were telling me earlier, when you were a child, that you did not wear shoes and so on.
No, I never wear shoes. My first shoes I wear from a wedding.
shoes.
And what kind of shoe was that you got for
And
your wedding?
I little flat shoes,
Flat?
white shoes, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I had to practice in the house to wear shoes because we know about soccer.
Like
Not like this. My uncle used to take the cedar and shape it with heel and thing and take the bicycle tire and make the thing. And that was, and if the rain falling too much and you're walking in the yard, you can't wait till you have to wait. Go barefoot.
Take it off and move
We
it.
didn't get in a sapa to go to school bare feet.
I went from a bag dress to go to school. About 1 till standard 1. But when you go one day for the week, where you go on?
We use flour bag in all different.
Yeah.
Use it for kitchen towel. Use it for chimney so to make for my
And we
mother.
went to school barefoot.
Use
We had
for
to walk a
silence to
mile and
make
a
for my
half to go
father.
to school.
Use for sheet to spread and to cover too. All that.
Well, I
Same
had a
flour
flower
bag.
bag and bag. My
You
mother
can't get
saw
never
flower
again.
bag and bag
Yeah.
for to go to school.
Yeah.
Because my father and
I
I was
know.
poor
I used to
people.
sew.
And
Yeah,
I
that's
never
right,
go to
right.
school barefoot. Summer, the only rainfall, we had to go mud trails, we used to walk barefoot.
And we
We had
have
no
book.
umbrella, we
We
had
have
to cut
bag.
beef and
You're going with
shelter to
a
go to
copy book in
school.
your hand and you're going with a pencil.
White, you know.
And one day,
You
2 days for
stone
the
and
week,
wash.
you're going to school by your alone.
And blue soap. You know nothing about breeze, you know nothing about scrubbing board, you know nothing about trouble.
So you're using the blue soap where?
In the big stone, when my father put in the ground and we had to wash, I'd beat the clothes and wash it. And that clothes used to be white, clean.
Or you beat
I
it
grew
like
up
a-
also and still I ain't know about dingy clothes. Yeah, one none. I go throw it away.
Blue soap is the best soap to wash clothes.
Blue soap is
So you used to wash with the blue soap and what you used to bathe with?
same thing.
Same blue soap.
Same thing.
Blue soap.
Yeah. Wash it.
That was good for your skin?
Yeah. Up till now, there is a blue soap good to me.
You have any stain in white clothes and you
Yeah.
rub the blue soap.
It is
If
not
you get ink stain in your white shirt and you rub the blue soap and you rub it,
Yeah.
it come.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, a group conversation. And I hope you all recognize that having the conversation like this allows for memories to come forth. In all cases, we would have seen that they shared similar experiences, but sometimes you need someone else to start talking about it in order for you to freely speak about your experience. And I want to thank these ladies so much and their family members for bringing them to us. I could listen to them all day. I could sit down and chit chat with them all day. And I'm sure some of you all would appreciate that. And unfortunately, we don't have all day to have those conversations. At this point in time, I want to say thank you very much to all our ladies there. And Tanti Lali, you are here with us. Thank you very, very much for being with us. I'm not seeing any raised hands, so I'll take that as an indication that you all, my apologies. Dr. Roseanne Kanhai. Go ahead, please.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So thank you very much for bringing these very interesting women and their stories to us. I'm just fascinated by some of the things they're saying. But I'm seeing not a but, and I'm seeing that you're talking about thought leaders, and we need to think of these women as, having thoughts, having ideas, and how we utilize those ideas to maybe give us some guidance down the generations moving forward. So I wonder if there's anything, that we can see that is their thinking, that is like philosophizing for us, so that we can learn from them, So let me give an example. I go to an Ayurvedic doctor in Washington, And he has always boasted that he was the first person to bring Ayurveda to the West, right? And to America in particular. And I said to him one day, we were chatting, and I said, no, you are not the first. The first were my grandparents' generation and my great grandparents' generation. Because they brought how to massage the baby. They brought, or anybody who has a fall, they brought herbal medicines to us. Some of it was trial and error. They also, not only did they bring what they remembered from India, they also integrated that into what was all around them. The medicinal herbs that were all around them. So, that was Ayurveda, except that it was passed down to them through traditions, not through science. Okay? But now we have bright young men and women who are becoming doctors and, well qualified, brilliant doctors. But do we have doctors, contemporary times, who are going into, let's call it Ayurveda, or we could call it bush medicine or herbal medicine? Do we have people who are taking that knowledge that some of these women talked about? Are they studying it scientifically and integrating it into westernized medicine so that we have a medicine that takes from Western medicine, Western practices, as well as those folkloric practices that were practiced by some of these women, as we have been hearing? I would say that as an example of how to take the traditional knowledge into contemporary times.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Kanhai. On April 21st, we have a session on health and wellness, and I'm sure you'll have some of those questions answered. But I think you can agree that these ladies would have adapted according to the circumstances that they were in and with the resources that they had available to them. So in terms of them being able to use their own knowledge and adapt it to what was taught to them, there was an indication of that when they spoke about the different teas and so on. If you don't have the 9 bushes, what do? You use 7. If you don't have all of those 7, you use something similar. It's what is available to you. You don't have chandelier bush available? Good, you find something else. And we've seen them use it in different ways. So thank you very much for raising that point. Again, I hear you.
Okay.
And hopefully we will have other conversations about that.
Okay, the question is, are their granddaughters putting this knowledge
to use?
into Western?
I think you would have gotten from the conversation that their grandchildren have been doing different things. Not what they've done, but they followed what their parents did. And it could have been because of the amount of education that was available to them. Education for them came from their families, not necessarily from the school system. So we see how the school system would have influenced their thoughts. So thank you very much for raising that, because it brings us directly into our next interview. And this is with Ms. Lydia Choate, who is 78 years old. She's a retired school principal from a high school here in Trinidad and Tobago. She is a former president of Medina House, and we will hear how Medina House came about. She is also a former television host and several other things. She was awarded a Medal of Merit Silver for education and community service. So I want to bring on Mrs. Choate now, and we're going to have a little chat, but I am going to share my screen with you in order to assist that chat. Mrs. Choate, are you able to unmute your mic?
Is she there? Because I'm not seeing her.
Yeah, she's here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Mrs. Choate, can you unmute your mic, please?
I'm unmuted now.
Okay, very nice. So let me share my screen so that everyone will be able to see you. So, ladies and gentlemen, you will not be seeing her. Her video is off, but you will certainly be able to hear her. And Mrs. Choate, I am going to turn this into slideshow so that you will see the full screen. Right, and I'd like you to share a little bit with us about your great-grandparents, first of all. Can you share with us who these people are that we are seeing on the screen?
Yes, good. Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. And of course, some of you are even late in the night viewing this show. And it is indeed a privilege to share some of my family history with you. On the left, you would see my great grandfather, who was Duncan Gore. He was Scottish in descent and came from Kent. There you see him with his many children. And of the boys in the back, one of them is my grandfather, George Gore. He was a railroad engineer and he went to India during the British rule. I do not know all the facts about him. In fact, you know, when he was born, when he died, when he went to India, and so on, but I'm actively looking into it. He came to Trinidad with 4 boys, his sons, and an adopted son, and 2 daughters, and settled in Bank Village, Carpichaima. There he met my grandmother, Matilda, who was a Carib. So you see her trying to comfort my cousin. And yes, she was a lovely grandmother. That was my only grandparent that I knew, because my grandfather on my mother's side here, George, died before I was born. So I only had one grandparent, and on my father's side, his parents had died before I was born. So we really cherished my grandmother, and she really took care of us. This was my family. This is in 1960. On the left is my sister Sheila, that's my father, Udwa Sohan, who became known as John Evans Ramcharita. And next to him is his son, my brother, who later became Dr. Ramcharita. And on the right is me, Lydia. Now, my mother was Stella Gore. So she was, and there she is, Stella Gore, and she's descended from Duncan Gore, who lived in Kent. And the Gore family they were well-known family in Kent, and they had a family crest. And you will see the Latin there, and it means all service is to God. Now, in 1959, my mother was saying goodbye to her son, my brother. He was on his way to Jamaica. He had won an open scholar and he was going to do medicine. And there we are, very early in the morning at the airport. And she just said goodbye to him. And she told him, son, I don't think I'll see you again. The next year, which was the previous shot that you showed, the next year she died. So here we are telling my brother goodbye after he had come to the funeral. That's the shot before Shalma.
Okay.
Right, yes. So we had buried my mom, and now he was returning to Jamaica. Now, a little bit about me and my childhood. I went to 5 primary schools, and this is because I went everywhere my father went. He was the headmaster because his parents realized that education was the way out from poverty and made sure that their children got education. He went to Caroni CM School, Canadian Mission School, and he stayed on and became a monitor. That's at post-primary level. He became a monitor, and then he applied to the Canadian mission to be a teacher. But in order to do that, he had to convert to Christianity. And so they gave him the name John Evans Ramcharita. He was posted at Guayco CM School. So his wife, my mother, had to go with him, and they lived in San Grande. After that, he was posted at Erin Road and Riversdale. I was born in San Fernando when my family lived in Riversdale. And then we moved over to Esperanza Village in Hoover. Now, this is the most formative years in my life at Door Village. We lived on the compound, and we really had an excellent time at living there. And my parents, who were very much disciplinarians, but my mother was very, very affectionate, and she taught us hygiene. She taught us all the things that are necessary to really live a good life. So we had our hygiene, we had to learn good manners, and also we had to understand moral values. Moral values were instilled in us. At the school compound, excuse me, at the school compound, there was a garden of flowering shrubs across the roadway to the school. We were on the right, the garden was on the left, and so we could roam around in the garden. And the school was at the back, and at the back of the school was a garden and an orchard of the trees were almond trees. Right. Now, the school was not only a place of learning, it was also a place where church services were held. So we went to church every Sunday, and during that time, I was brought up as a Presbyterian. At that time, we had to say the Nicene Creed. And also, the school was a depot on weekends to give out or share out rations because the war had ended, but people had to be coming to the school with their little, I think, yellow and blue cards with little boxes. And every time they got their supplies, a little X was made in the box. I guess that was the receipt to say that, yes, you have gotten your rations. Yes, so the school was therefore that depot where people had to come and get their rations. At the school is where we got our vaccinations. At the school, we had all sorts of activities. Now, my grandparents came on the Fatel Razak, and they moved, and they were, after the landing in Nelson Island, they went to the barracks on New Street, Caroni. I only found out 2 weeks ago that that was exactly the spot where we lived, because after we left Esperanza, we went to live in Caroni, in New Street, Caroni. Now in Esperanza, we had no running water inside, but we had a big cistern and with a tap, and we collected water to bring inside, and we had to use lamps, kerosene lamps. We had no electricity. At Caroni, later on, we got electricity, but we still had no water. Our house was about 200 feet in from the main road, and there was a standby at the main road. I had to go with a little bucket and fill water and bring it on my head, walk down home and empty it into, utensils for cooking and so on. But we also had a barrel. Later on, we moved to Montrose, Chaguanas. But in the meantime, after my father left Esperanza, he was posted at Flomita. But I did not go to Plumita CM school. I had to go to Caroni, and I had to walk to school almost a mile. I had to walk to school. And when I reached the train station, I had to walk along the train line and reach the school, which was at the edge of the Caroni River. I was so scared I would fall into the river. And every time the train passed, the whole school shook. After that, my father was posted to McBean CM School, where he was the first principal there. And again, that was a very pleasant, all my school experiences were very pleasant. I learned to suck sugar cane there because the school was next to the sugar field and there was a black cane. It was very soft. And my little friends told me, well, break off this stem and you could take your teeth and peel it with your teeth and suck the sweet juice. So that was really good. Then I went to Warrenville School. Now, with McBean, I went to school with my dad, but for Warrenville, I had to go by bus. Then I went, but at Warrenville, my memory is shaving ice. You know the shaver, and we had a block of ice. The lady there was selling press, what we call snow cone now. So she used to save the ice and put the syrup on it, and we would suck press, you know. And a lady made the most delightful mango achar, which we look forward to every morning break. After that, I went to Upper Capichaiman School where my father was posted, and I went with him by car. Now, he always asked me to read the newspaper while going to school. So I had to read the headlines and sometimes even some of the text. Right. From there, I passed my entrance exam for St. Augustine Girls High School, and then I went to St. Augustine Girls High School. Now, my sister, Sheila, had gone to St. Augustine Girls High School before. My brother had gone to Naparima Boys and later transferred to St. Mary's College, and my sister had gone to Naparima Girls and then transferred to St. Augustine Girls High School when we moved to Caroni. Now, after my stay at St. Augustine Girls for O and A levels, I then went to UV in 1964 to read for the BSc degree in Bodzu Chem. However, I passed in 1967 having a degree in botany and zoology. One memory I have there especially was when the Queen visited in 1966, Queen Elizabeth. We were all standing in our undergraduate gowns in front of the administrative building, and she was walking along, looking around, and she looked at me and I smiled with her. And then she asked me about, how many women were on campus and so on. That was a short and brief and very memorable occasion. In 1967, I graduated from UWI. But perhaps we could go to the next slide. That's where I met Ramjohn. Ramjohn Caliber, Ramjohn Chu. The part with the loss and not that part, the one before.
Yeah, right here.
Before, where you have love and so on. That
Yeah,
one.
here it is.
Yes, but here I met Ramjohn Shoot. He was doing phys chem math phys chem. So we had chem classes together. And we became interested in each other. And we got married afterwards. After we left UWI, we got married. I went to teach at Cooper Secondary School, and he remained at UWI to do his master's degree in X-ray crystallography. Now, when I was in Form 3, my mother died. I was 14 years old. And when I was at the end of my first year at UWI, my father died. I was 16 years old. So I guess, the death of my father really took me, and it took away from my ability to concentrate on my schoolwork, and of course I had the distraction of Ramjon Chote. Okay, after that, we continued to live. I had 3 children, a girl and 2 boys, who have been very successful in their lives. On the day I got married, I took the Shahada formally. Before that, I was Muslim in my heart because I had been questioning since age 14 about my belief system. And I knew that I had to become a Muslim. Now, he was a Muslim. And he told me, do not become a Muslim because of me. And he gave me a Quran, which had the translation of the Arabic. It had Arabic and English. And I read the whole thing through. And I realized that in it, the prophets and so on that were mentioned were the same prophets that were mentioned in the Bible. And of course, there are some basic differences. So yes, I became a Muslim, and I have been a Muslim until now. I thank God for that. And we worship at the Babu Masjid, as you see there, Babu Masjid, from about 1981 to 2004. 2004, I got remarried. I remarried Shiraz Muradali, and we went to, instead, I went to San Fernando, and then I went to another mosque, which was the Prince Albert Street Mosque. In the meantime, however, when I was vice principal of Shagona Senior Comprehensive, I became aware of a number of brothers, Muslim brothers, called themselves Muslims, who wanted to do some kind of good for the community. And so they were thinking about what they should do. And one of the brothers, Gayaz Rajab, was a school guidance officer. And he mentioned to them that when the guidance officers all met together, they found that one of the main reasons for underperformance in schools was domestic violence. Either the children had seen or heard or actually were abused. So this is how Medina House came into being. So in 1995, under the Companies Act, it was incorporated as a company, Medina House, M1900. That is our number. And so we went on, or I should say they went on, to get this thing into motion because the Muscle brothers agreed that this would be their project. And so they, for a number of years, they tried and organized themselves. And so we got Medina House, more than a shelter, established. Now, I've been president for Medina House for 20 years. But it started, we opened the shelter, although we were incorporated in 1995, we opened the shelter in 1999 with just one person seeking shelter. Since then, we have sheltered 1,200 people or more. That includes women and children. We did not take boys at puberty. So that was a sad point because it meant that these children had to be, the boys had to be away from their mothers. At the Medina House, and we had so many experiences. We learned so much, legal matters, medical matters, all kinds of experiences we had. Now you would notice here on the photograph on the left is our launch of a 20th anniversary commemorative magazine. On the left is Sharifa Abdullah. She was our guest speaker. She is a UNDP resident, and she is a wife of one of the Basir brothers. Next to her is Sister Zaliha Hasanali, former First Lady, who was our patron and is still so. Then me, then on the side is Sabira, who was the graphic artist who designed the cover and the layout. So that was a big event for us, 20 years, and this happened in 2019. Now on the right is a shelter, which we kept secret. This was a shelter in Piparo, and this was leased to us by a person, a righteous person who did not want a name to be disclosed. It consisted of 3 floors. The top floor was where our clients would stay. Originally, we could have sheltered about 17, but there was a corridor on the side, and at one point we even sheltered 20 persons at a time. Downstairs was a living room and dining room and kitchen and the manager's room, and down the 3rd floor downstairs is a basement, and that we organized into a playroom and a instructional room. We had a table and chairs where they could sit and do their homework. We had a library. We had, the government had given us a grant, and so we had built a a counseling room and a playroom on the side there, which later became another storeroom. We did so many repairs to this home. We never had to pay rent, but we did so many repairs. We changed the roof. We changed the windows. We put up privacy screens. We organized the septic tank. All sorts of things we did, and even we constructed a mudroom outside so the children could play and tidy up themselves before they could come in with a shower and toilet, and that was the area where washing was going to take place.
Now, Lydia,
So-
Lydia, let me interrupt you for a second. You're
Hello, I'm
speaking
not
about.
hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, a bit.
Okay. You are speaking about Medina House in the past tense. Can you tell us why?
Well, we had to close the shelter in 2019 because, you see, we used to get a government subvention from 2008 to 2015. And in order to run the shelter, it required us to have enough money to pay salaries to our staff, to buy food and other items, to maintain the property, and so on. And so although we did fundraising and we thank our individual and corporate sponsors for helping us, we just could not make enough money to run the shelter. Also, that was a time of COVID. And so we had a difficulty getting people to stay overnight to work, as well as the number of people who needed shelter was reduced, because in order to come to our shelter, you had to go through the police, you had to go through Families in Action, you had to go through Coalition Against Domestic Violence, you had to go through Rape Crisis Center. Now, when the hotline 800 SAVE was not getting requests for Medina House, we realized that it was going to be exceedingly difficult, and to crown it all, our lease was not renewed. So we had no choice to stop. However, Medina House still continues as our constitution says, that we are still doing work on education, we're still doing work on culture and sports, and very importantly, we are doing charitable work. So we are doing hampers for the needy and so on.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Prince Albert Street now and
Yes,
how
Prince
this
Albert
must
Street.
be-
So I went there in 2004, and my husband was the president of the mosque board, and the ladies, the San Fernando Muslim Women Association, they invited me to join them. And so I stayed there, for 17 years, 2 years of which I was the president of the San Fernando Muslim Women's Association. And 4 years, I was a member of the mosque board. 1 year, I was PRO. And I was also on the religious education committee.
And
Yes,
at the
so,
moment, you are working on an article about this mosque, correct?
oh yes, I'm working on an article because I said, let me just Google Prince Albert Street Mosque. When I looked at it, there's hardly anything written. Not that I'm going to write plenty, but I have written the article.
Mhm.
I'm just waiting for Google to make a correction on the map. Because if you look at the Google map, you will see Prince Albert Street Mosque indicated as the TML Mosque. But it has never been a TML mosque. It has always been an independent mosque. And
Right.
it is called so because it housed the TML school for 38 years. And
Right,
so
but
we look forward to that.
this mosque was established during the period of indentureship, correct?
Yes, well, the first Jamaat was of indentured laborers. They got together and they wanted a place to worship. And so a very kind gentleman by the name of Rahamat or Rahumat, yes, organized a little wooden building for them on Prince of Wales Street. And that is where they used to worship. And of course, they transferred here to the Prince Albert Street Mosque in 1894.
Right. And we can see the architecture very unique at the top of the building there.
Yes, it's unusual. You don't see mosques looking like that at all.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, the little cupola in front was put in afterwards to shade the entrance there. But before that, you just had the mosque. Not to the back of the mosque on the right, which would be the northern side, there was a cottage there for the muezzin to live. Yes, and the bathrooms are there, the washrooms are there, the wudu area. And on the side of the mosque, in front of that, is a covered area now where you have the buffet when we have meals and so on, to events and so on,
Yes.
to share the meals.
So it's very interesting that this person whose father was a Hindu, who converted to Christianity, who grew up as a Presbyterian and later converted to Islam, is now so well entrenched in Islam and in the life of the Jamaats and so on. I was very pleased to see that you shared your personal credos with me, and I invite you now to share these with the members of the audience. And could you please just tell us how these credos came about? Was it influenced by your Indian background? Was it influenced by Presbyterianism or Islam or your life experiences?
I'm not hearing you so clearly.
Oh, I'm sorry. What I was saying was that I was very pleased to read your personal credos, and we have it here on the screen. And I would just like you to share with the audience whether these credos were influenced by your Presbyterian background, your Indian traditions, your conversion to Islam, or your life experiences, or a bit of all of the above.
I would say that a lot of my thoughts really gelled by having Presbyterian parents and going to Presbyterian schools. When I became a Muslim, that just followed. It just followed the same thing, really, except that there are differences. But yes, all these things are because I'm a Muslim. It's also because I was brought up as a Christian.
So the Abrahamic faith comes true.
Again, I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, so all the Abrahamic faiths basically come true.
Could you say that again, please?
Sorry, I was just making a point that all the Abrahamic faiths bear very much the same virtues.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So, we have to be careful of how we deal with others. We have to understand that they have rights, just as you have rights, and not step on their rights. We are not supposed to cause harm to ourselves or to other people at all.
Yeah.
So that you have some fringe groups of Muslims who are not following the Quran and Sunnah.
Mhm.
And they are fringe groups. But if you look into Islam, you will see the beauty of it, how peaceful a religion it is.
Yeah. So thank you very much for sharing. You had quite an eventful life, and I wish we had more time to talk about it even more. But I really want to thank you very much for sharing what you have thus far. And let me just invite our next person to be interviewed. Jay, please just hold your question if you don't mind. And Lydia, if you don't mind, please just stick around. Let's have this conversation with our next interviewee, and then maybe we can open the floor if we wanted to have. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm seeing here that Miss Siren had to leave. It was too difficult to wait.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. She's 91 years old, and we can understand. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Perhaps
Maybe
you
we
can
will have her next month.
another
So,
time, yeah.
yeah, so Lydia, just hang on, Jay. Let's take your question, if you don't mind. Can you unmute? Good.
Oh, thank you, Shalima. Oh my God, this conversation that you had with Lydia parallels my journey also. And we are almost the same age, but it brought to memory a lot of things that happened in my country. And, it so happened that I didn't end up in a Christian school. I ended up in a government-aided school by what we call the Hindu Mahasabha. So the values and things that she emulated or in outline is almost the same as what we went through. And we've had many, like this. And she should be one of those to be put on the Commonwealth, what you call, chart of what she did as an indentured, what you call, family, what they did for the nation. So I know I'm going to put that number one for my list, but it parallels, and what a story! It's great, rich, 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 and I can relate. We can relate.
Thank you very much.
So Lydia, perhaps you don't know, but Jay is South African. He was born in South Africa. Unfortunately, had to leave and is now living in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah. Are there any other questions or comments for Lydia? I'm not seeing any raised hands.
Can I say something, Shalima?
Yes, certainly.
My father would have known how to speak Hindi, but he never taught us. He embraced the Christian faith so much, he never spoke Hindi to us. But I saw from our kitchen equipment and so on, my mother would fan the rice with a soup. We had the tawa and the roti, sada roti, and the simta to turn it. We had, those kinds of things. That is the only sort of Hindi that I knew. And in church, we used to have bhajans. And I remember the first line of one bhajan, Isu Masi. And that was a bhajan that was sung during the church services. It is only when I went to Karani and I interacted more with my father's family that I learned more names, the Hindi names for things. And I was very amazed that, whereas in Christianity, you just had grandfather or grandmother. Now I know this is my Aji and my Aja, I didn't know these words at all. I didn't know Nani and Nana and so on. I just know grandma. you know. So
Yeah.
it was the language was quite a thing for me to understand, because my
Yeah.
father had a Bhagavad Gita, but he never shared it with us.
Mhm.
He
So
never shared it.
let's take a question for you now from Subhash Apana. Subhash, good morning from Fiji.
Hi.
Yeah. Good morning. I hope you are hearing me loud and clear.
We are
Yes.
hearing.
Okay. I just have a comment. I mean, these pioneers in education. It has been a shared sort of experience throughout wherever the indentured laborers went. In Fiji, what happened is when we got our independence in 1970, and of course the trend was towards the immediate move was towards localization. The people who were educated and ready to take those posts were descendants of indentured laborers, because of our focus on education as the source of security, as the passport to progress in life. And so why I'm raising this is because it worked against us a couple of years later, because we had populated the civil service and it looked like we had overwhelming control of industry, and we were most visible in the civil service, even though we didn't hold senior positions. It simply happened in that manner because we were ready, we were educated, and we were like ready to fill those posts. And so 7 years after independence, we had the first coup in Fiji. Of course, Fiji is a coup-prone country, like many countries are flood-prone and it's stuff like that. We are a coup-prone country, and this was part of it. Education was part of it.
Yeah, Fiji.
Unfortunately, it didn't work for us. But then the plus side was, because of our education, we managed to migrate as quickly as possible. As soon as the political instability hit, our people fled the country. That's my bit of, and thank you very much we need to thank and acknowledge, as Jay said from Canada there, we need to acknowledge and thank these guys who have been leaders and pioneers in our movement towards attaining the security in foreign lands through education.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Subhash. Lydia, would you like to comment?
Well, the thing is, education was so important. It was so stressed by our forefathers, because they knew that was the passport to a better life.
Yeah.
You know, because remember, they came from India, from Calcutta. They came escaping poverty, and so they came here hoping to have a new life, a better life. They came to cut cane, and yes, afterwards they were planting rice and planting vegetables. And my grandma, my Aji, was selling pulori and bara and sahina with grated mango chutney and so on, you know. But they made sure that my father, who was showing some kind of what can I say? He wanted to learn. He wanted to learn. And so they ensured that he learned, you know, and they made sure that he went to school, he was properly fed and everything, and so that he could become a teacher. And then, of course, a principal, which we called it a headmaster, because the people in the village used to call him headmaster, schoolmaster. And my mother, they used to call her schoolmistress. But she also taught at the school. She taught needlework at the school.
I see.
Yeah, but
let's take a question now from Mr. Ramnaresh Dwarka for you. Go ahead, please, sir.
Yes, Mr.
Thank you, Shalima. And let me say this. I want to compliment yourself, Shakira, and Dr. Mahavir in particular. I've had the opportunity to attend a few of these when time permits, but this is not only sharing information. For me, this has become a very strong support group for all of us who are attending, to let us know that, look, we have gone through common faith, common experiences, and it is really admirable. I had the good fortune of meeting Lydia when she was vice principal. I think it was at Chabonas. And I also followed her when I went as director of the Paro Empowerment Center. I know of her work. And, I sit here and I suppose I feel sad with her as well for the fate that has happened with both those institutions. The Paro Empowerment Center has been closed down. And so too, she described what happened with Medina House, that was providing an essential service, a service that the government and the state did not see the need to or had the will, you know. Just this week, I interviewed another female, a woman, well, a lady who started Serenity Place. Some of you in Trinidad would know, a treatment facility for women who have become addicted to drugs, and she's the administrative director. That program is posted on YouTube under my name for the time being. And you know, it is really, really sad that not only the work of these people are not recognized, to my mind, fully, but you know, at this point in time, when there's no shortage of violence and drug use and all of these social ills, that the government doesn't see the importance of prioritizing and supporting these things. Remember, this is staffed by mostly volunteer. Lydia wouldn't have gotten a penny for all her work and effort that went into setting up this, and all the people with her. So I wanted to compliment her and to let her know that there are people who are here and still supporting the work that people like herself are doing. Thank you very much, Shalima.
Thank you, Mr. Dorika. Yes.
Go ahead, Nadia.
What I wanted to say is, my work has been voluntary. Even to be the host on the television station, Islamic Broadcasting Network, that was voluntary. Everything is voluntary. I was paid, I think, for 3 sessions for speaking to white trainers and as to how to deal with Muslims in their classes. And the money I got for that, I deposited into the Medina House bank account. So I never took anything for myself. Everything was from my own resources. Yeah. Yeah.
So admirable work. We cannot thank you enough. I agree with Mr. Dwarka. It's unfortunate that the Piparo Center as well as Medina House are no longer as functional, or at least not in the vision that you all had for it. We are seeing now that the government has allocated funds, 100,000, is it 100,000 or 100 million? They've allocated for special projects, but I don't think it will, it is meant to do the work that you all have been doing, which is very, very unfortunate because we are seeing tremendous need for it. And perhaps we need to have a conversation sometime about what can be done in order to have some of those funds reallocated so that Medina House can function again as a shelter and paid for by the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago as well as the Power Center, if possible.
But Shalima, may I share something with you?
Certainly.
When I was on the social committee of the anti-trafficking unit, I stayed on that of the Ministry of National Security. I stayed on that for 4 years, and I was asked to give them a detailed account of how Medina House was run. And do you know, that is what they took, and they organized their own shelters.
Mm-hmm.
They organized their own shelters and did not give us funding. But there's hope. We are in the process of finding a property, and we will be opening a shelter, inshallah.
Excellent. Excellent. That's great news. Mm-hmm. So we look forward to hearing more about that in the future and hopefully lend support in some way.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. All right. So Vinay, we'll take the last question from you. Go ahead, please.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. Sitaram, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you to Auntie Lydia for speaking.
Not hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll talk a little bit louder. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, a little better.
Yes, I wanted to find out, you had mentioned your husband, your first husband, he had the name Ramjan, and I've always been interested to know the history of that name for Muslim men in the Caribbean.
Well, he was born in Ramadan, and at that time, his parents, Islam was taught to the Muslims in Urdu. And so they did not say Ramadan, they said Ramzan. So he was born in Ramadan, And his parents, whoever went to register him, told the registrar that the name is Ramzan. But the registrar could not handle that. And she wrote Ramjon.
Yeah, someone had told me that that was the reason why that Ramzan or Ramjan was anglicized to Ramjan, but I never was able
Yes,
to get
that's how his
confirmation.
name became Ramjon, but he was supposed to be Ramzan.
Oh, okay, okay. Yes. Thank you so much for confirming
And
that.
the short part is because he was small in stature as compared
Yes.
with the others. He was slim. And so he
Yes, I
was like,
figured that.
like Choti Bahin, Chot.
Yeah.
So that's how his
Mhm.
name became Ramjon Chot.
And I just had one more quick question. I've always been curious to find out from some of the older Muslims in the community if there's any older Muslim traditions that you remember that were popular when you were younger, when you were growing up, when you first became Muslim that maybe you don't see as much today. For example, I have a auntie who's a neighbor in the village, and she would tell us about how for Eid they would make a sweet. Well, it wasn't sweet, but they would make something called namkeen, which was kind of like kurma, but they would make it a bit salty. But it's not something that's as common today. So I was just curious
Oh,
to know if there were any things like that that you remember.
no, I don't know about that. I know about Malida,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
which is crushed up bus-up shot with
Mm-hmm.
spices and butter and so on. Yeah, and formed into balls.
Mm-hmm.
Malida, but I don't know of what you speak.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So, okay, thanks for that question, Vinay. Thanks for your responses, Lydia. I think our elder from Guyana, Nasiran, who unfortunately could not wait, the program really was a bit too long for her, and we will have her sometime. Maybe she might have been more familiar with some of those practices, and it's something we can ask as well of others. So thank you all very much, Lydia. Thank you so much for being here. I want to say as well, thanks to all our other elders, those who we would have interviewed together as a group. It really has been a sacrifice, and you all have given so freely of your time, your knowledge, your expertise, your experience, and we cannot tell you how much we appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you as well to all the members of our audience, those of you on Zoom and on YouTube. We want to thank you for attending and participating in all the ways that you do. So I'll turn you all over now to Shakira to formally bring today's program to a close. Shakira?
Thank you, Shalama, for being a wonderful moderator as always. And thank you all for taking the time to attend and participate. And as we've said earlier, this public meeting is being hosted by the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center, and you can feel free to contact the ICC to publish your books and your reports. And remember, we are asking you to kindly give us your suggestions, as well as become volunteers and donate. And you can contact Dr. Kumar Mahabir for details. And thank you to the advisory and planning team led by Dr. Kumar Mahabir, and to our IT manager behind the scenes, Ravin Ramsingh, who has been recording the program and will upload it to our website and to YouTube permanently for posterity. Also to Daryl Grantham for designing the poster, and to Miriam Mohammed for producing our TikTok videos. Our topic next Sunday will be part 2, where we will be speaking about our new books on indentureship and its legacies. So please visit our YouTube channel to see all our past recordings. I am Shakira Mohammed from Trinidad saying goodbye. May God bless you all. Dhanyavad.
Thank you very, very much, everybody.